Hi, Elle here at pressure-free.com. And as we get ready for a new year here, or we're in it, right? It's January 2nd when I'm recording this. So whenever you're watching it, thank you. If you're watching on the replay or you're watching me live, this is Pressure-Free Living with Elle. I'm the creator of the pressure-free method. I created this method almost 15 years ago. It is an on-the-go stress management method. So it's not an extra to-do that you have to stick into your day. It's something that you do all day long. You literally start to create a lifestyle of pressure-free living. So let me explain that a little bit as we start this new year. Maybe you're new to my show. If not, it'll be a little recap for you. I created this method to be very simple. In fact, throughout my coaching program, everything I do is in very simple steps to make it very accessible and usable by people of all ages. I've coached from age 80 to age 10, from CEOs to hockey players and gymnasts and everybody in between. And that's very purposeful because it's the only way we're really going to create a better society is when we stop triggering the stress response, which is what my expertise is on. So the method, 3 simple steps: targets, triggers, tools. I think I have it behind me or somewhere. Yeah, targets, triggers, tools. So targets. What are you aiming for? What do you want? Sometimes you can figure out what you want by assessing what you don't want anymore. So if you have a certain health situation or a relationship situation, or you've just lost your job, or you have something going on performance-wise, what is going on that you don't want or you want to be different? That can help you figure out what you do want. Because sometimes when I coach people, their situation is so stressful, their brain can't think about what they want. All they know is they want to get out of the pain. They want to get out of the misery. They want to get out of feeling so anxious and stressed and worried. So sometimes just coming up with, okay, what don't I want, can help you figure out what your targets are. Step 2, triggers. What makes you feel any sort of mental or physical tension? If your shoulders start going up, you start tightening your jaw. If you feel emotions like these, anytime you feel annoyed or angry, anxious or afraid, anytime you feel ashamed, and anytime you argue. I honestly feel that arguing is one of the most destructive things we do in our families. And people will disagree. People will say it's important to get angry. Honestly, if you act in an angry way, if you've triggered the stress response, you're overreacting. You could be overreacting to the smallest of things. But so many children grow up in homes where people are overreacting and getting angry in situations and arguing about things that are so small and so insignificant. And it creates a habit in our mind, a groove in our mind. So notice when you start to feel any of those emotions. I don't get very angry. I don't get very anxious, but boy, do I get annoyed. Like that's mine. So every one of us is different. When I say that stress presents differently in everyone, our emotional makeup is very different. So keeping the method simple and then working with the complexities of each one of my clients is how we gain traction and gain results. So targets, triggers, last is tools. Tools in the 10-second solution. So if you're doing like a 10-minute meditation or an hour-long yoga courses, those are all really nice things to do. And they may, for a small amount of time, actually reduce your feelings of stress. But if you've triggered the stress hormones, the hormones are still working on you. They're still affecting you. So the pressure-free method helps you identify what causes you to release these hormones and interrupt it. It's a game. We've got to practice, just like any other thing that you have to learn. So I'm right here to step side by side with you to help you practice this, because practice is what helps you really understand what do I need to do to interrupt. My tools come in 3 types. I use 3 things a lot. Body tools, mind tools, and life design tools. And I never know which of these tools are going to work best for my clients, again, because everybody is so different. I think we also have a lot of judgment or hold a lot of judgment about other people when it comes to stress. For example, someone might be really petrified of something, and you're like, oh, it's nothing. Why are you so afraid of that? It's really nothing. But our fears are our fears. Our feelings are our feelings. And facts are facts. Like feelings, fears, facts, they're real. They're what we are experiencing. And they really can't really be denied. However, when you can get to the root cause of them, I'm going to take a fear like fear of snakes. I used to have a huge fear of snakes. And it wasn't until I became pressure-free and used my method every day, I'm out on my walk, I encounter a snake. What I realized was I wasn't afraid of the snake per se, but what my eye would catch peripherally is that quick motion. And that's what I was afraid of. It startled me to see this quick motion when the snake makes a slithery motion. And I realized this because I came to a snake one day who was still and didn't move, and I didn't react at all. And I thought, oh, is it the movement that I'm reacting to? So you start to really become so much more self-composed and understand yourself when you use this method and become what I call pressure-free, that you see things that you didn't even see before. Because most of us trigger the stress response first thing in the morning, just when we wake up. And from that point on, all of this processing is somewhat shifted and isn't working very well. So we miss things. We don't see, we don't hear, we don't process optimally. So although my expertise is on the stress response and interrupting it, really what I love to help people do is step into their optimal selves, mentally and physically. Like, let's get this whole thing working. When I did this on myself, and by the way, I didn't even think I needed my own method. I thought I was a pretty calm professional. I thought I had proved myself, if you really want to know. And I didn't think I needed my own method. But when I dug in, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been hurting myself for decades, and I didn't even realize it. Again, because I would react to very small annoyances. People being late. I'm an early bird. Stuck in traffic. Something out of place on my desk or on the dining room table or in the home. Those things would annoy me and I would trigger my stress response. Things not working well. If I press a button on a remote or on my computer and it doesn't work, that's very triggering for me. So figuring out all these little things that were causing me to trigger the stress response totally changed my life. It changed my health. It changed my skin. I can't believe this is my skin. It changed my hair. Like, it changed so many things. It changed my ability to see. Like, my eyes aren't getting worse at all. In fact, they're kind of getting better. I can't believe what I can do at 62. Like, it's really phenomenal how I feel and how I work and how my brain works. I feel like my brain is working better now than when I was in my 20s. And it's because when we trigger the stress response, we're literally depowering our cortex and our hippocampus. That's why if you are in a social situation, maybe you were at a party over the holidays and you met someone and 5 seconds later you couldn't remember their name. Why? You're not a stupid person. Like, come on, right? You should be able to remember Jack. Even one syllable names we can't remember. And that's because our hippocampus is shut down. Pretty much every time we go into a social situation, we'll trigger. We don't even realize it. And now we're not even able to take in information properly. I note this all the time, especially if I'm working with a group. I always have to remind myself, everyone has come into this room or on this Zoom room, and every person is triggered. That means they're going to be lucky if they remember even 10% of what I say. And that's because this is not processing very well when we're in fight or flight. And most of us don't know we're in it. So how stress presents in us is very individualized. What we consider a stressful issue or event, that's also very individualized, which is why I've kept my method so simple so that we can lift up the hood and get into the complexities, if that makes sense. So what I share on here with you are simple tools, simple tips, so you can get started. And someone's giving me love. Thank you. I think I know who it is. But to really do the work, you need to do the work. I am 15 years into this, or almost 15 years, and I'm still doing the work. So I encourage you, if you want to know more, to please just DM me, however you're getting this information. And don't let 2025 go by with you still stuck in the stress response. that's what I would really advise you to think about. Like, what is your life going to be a year from now if you're still experiencing some of these loops in your head and these worries and these anxieties and these stressors working on you for another whole year? Like, where are you going to be a year from now? So, it's Leela. Thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate you being here. I appreciate you watching. And just DM me if you want to learn more. And you can always go to pressure-free.com to learn more too. Have a great day.